Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council, April 13th, 2026, and starting time at 3:30. Remind council of disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest. Does anybody have one at this time? Seeing none. Thank you. Now going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs and offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. Council, I'm going to take everybody to number 5, and that's the minutes of March 9th council meeting. Does anybody have any questions on those minutes at this time? If not, I would ask for somebody to make a motion to approve. Councillor Westgate is making that motion, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kellenberg. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Is there any business arising from those previous meetings? I don't believe so. No, thank you. And we're going to go to number 7 on the agenda, scheduled meetings and events. 7A, that's basically an FYI to everybody, unless there's something anybody would like to ask a question about. Seeing none. We'll go to 7B, kind of the same format there, council. Anything there anybody wishes to speak to? Seeing none, thank you. Let's go to number 8 on the agenda then. Councillor commitments and items. First, we'll start out with commitment dates. Does anybody have anything they wish to add to the list today? No? Very good, thank you. We're going to go to 8B, councillors' items, verbal reports. I'm going to start with Councillor Manning today. Councillor Manning, did you have anything today, sir?
I have nothing today, thank you.
Councillor Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I had a call from a ratepayer last week that they still haven't been hooked up on the new fiber yet. I just wonder if there's other people in the township that haven't gotten hooked up yet. I did call Eastlink and I kind of got the runaround, but they just said it's not ready. Well, the line's there, so I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay, maybe we can have an inquiry. Can somebody from staff inquire about the fiber optics up that way? Very good, thank you. So we'll do that. Anything else today, Deputy Mayor? Councillor Westgate.
I had the same question as John did, but I have nothing else.
Councillor Morris.
Just one thing, Kyle, I'm always picking on you. The bridge on First School Road, about 200 feet from Confed, it looks like the one side is starting to lean in. Just maybe have a glance at it when your guys are out, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow up with Ray.
Okay, anything else, Councillor Morris?
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I just have one thing. I had the privilege of attending the Wofford Skating Club Carnival on Saturday. I want to congratulate the organization for putting on another super show. They put on 2 shows. Congratulate them on that and thank all the volunteers that provide the horsepower to keep that thing going year after year. So congratulations to those folks. Okay, I'm going to take us to number 9A, and that's staff items. We do have a new website update, a verbal. I think I'm assuming it's from you, Stephanie. Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor Case. I just wanted to update council on the status of our website redevelopment. We're entering the final stages and hope to go live before the end of April. So I'm looking forward to that and hearing everybody's feedback.
Does anybody have any questions for Stephanie? I know she's been working at it for quite some time. There's a lot to it. It's a big changeover for us, and we look forward to seeing the finished product, Stephanie. So good luck on all that. Okay, council, let's, we do have delegation events. We have 2 delegations for 3:40. So we've got 5 minutes to spare. So we're going to go to number 11. We're going to go to accounts. First off, the GL report. Does anybody have any questions on the GL report for today? Oh, seeing none? Very good. I'm going to go to 11B, the accounts payable. Does anybody have any questions on the accounts payable today, the list provided? Seeing none. In that case, council, I would entertain a motion to approve both the GL report and accounts payable if council saw fit. Councillor Manning is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. What I'm going to do, council, because we do have a few minutes, let's go to the consent agenda if we could. And on the consent agenda, we have, bear with me for 1 second. Did anybody have any questions on the consent agenda I'll say A to G, or pardon me, to H. Anybody have anything they want to pull out? A to H? Counselor Morris?
That be tabled from last meeting because we didn't have a full house at our Parks and Rec, and I kind of wanted to get council's opinion on what they thought of this. A spot has not been picked out, mind you. It's just the principle of it, and I just wanted to get council's input.
Okay, anybody have anything they'd like to offer? Any input for Counselor Morris to take back to the committee?
I really don't see any issues in it if it's just one parking spot, so.
I think it's more of a matter of selecting where that parking spot is, I think is what it'll come down to whether or not it's viable, but it's, yeah, there's no issue if we can find a good spot for it. And that works for them as well.
Yeah, I will say this. I know that when we have a busy night up there when the arena is being used and the hall is being used too. I have seen the folks have to carry a product quite a distance sometimes just to get into where they're going. So, okay, so I guess maybe that's something, Councilor Morris, do you want to bring that up through the Recreation Committee and then it comes back to here, or how did you want to proceed?
Well, it'll be on the next agenda for our meeting Wednesday night for the committee to make a decision on. And then the minutes, of course, will come back to council to be approved. But I just wanted to give council a heads up and seek their opinion on it.
Very good. Is everybody good with that then? Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Okay, does anybody else have any questions at all on any of the items? No? Then I would ask for a motion to receive and file A to H if I could then. The deputy mayor is making that motion, seconded by Counselor Morris. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, let's, we're going to back the bus up to our timed events now, council. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to delegations. And we're almost there. We'll give it a couple minutes. We want to make sure that we start at the, I guess does say 3:40 for both. So I think probably we're safe to start. So our first delegation and timed event is a zoning application from 7757 Confederation. And I will go through the process. Application number Z0126-7757 Confederation. I'm going to announce the following. The next item on council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to an application and council's consideration of bylaw to amend Warwick zoning bylaw 121 of 2012 on lands described as concession 5 SER part lot 17 known municipally as 7757 Confederation line in the township of Warwick. The amendment is required to facilitate a proposed subdivision. I'm now going to ask the clerk the following: the method of giving public notice for the meeting and the date the notice was given. Jessica?
The notice was posted on the property and mailed out to neighbors on March 20th.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to state the following. Any person requiring further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name and full mailing address to the clerk before leaving the meeting. Any persons present who wish to make oral or written submissions should provide the clerk with their name and full mailing address. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should ask their questions through the chair, which is myself. I'm now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any written submissions. Did we have any written submissions, Madam Clerk?
There were no written submissions.
Thank you. The planner will now give his report. Johan, if you'd be so kind.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good afternoon, respected council members, applicants, and the viewing public. Something I would like to mention, this meeting is for the rezoning aspect of the subdivision process. We will be having another public meeting down the line dealing more closely with the subdivision design itself, so the draft plan. So I would ask after this presentation, if there are any questions, that they please be aligned with the rezoning itself. With that, I'll just wait for the presentation. All right, thank you so much. Next slide, please. All right, the site is located at 7757 Confederation Line, so that's at on the west side of Watford. The parcel is just shy of 24 acres. Next slide, please. So the lot is zoned R1 residential with a holding symbol. The holding symbol is in place to ensure adequate servicing for any proposed development and for the symbol to be removed in association with a development agreement. Basically, the holding symbol is in place for the lot to remain for a subdivision, which this is. And since this meeting is for the rezoning, the planning staff recommend council remove the holding symbol as part of this rezoning. The other existing zone is the hazard lands surrounding the Brown Jerry drain. So they're the hatched zone designation that you see. Hazard lands generally correspond to the floodplain and associated erosion hazards. So a quick kudos to the applicant and their agents to propose a seemingly workable layout, considering this is the site they're actually working with. The surrounding lands are a mix of residential and agricultural uses. Next slide, please. So here's the proposed rezoning. So the residential R1 zones are proposed to be rezoned to R2 and R3 zones. Different unit types are being proposed for these zones. So in the R2 zones, they're proposing single detached and semi-detached residential units. In the R3 zone, they're proposing to have townhouse units. And the rezoning is to support that increased density. A total of 99 units are being proposed. So that is 37 single detached units, 22 semi-detached units, and 40 townhouse units. The R2 and R3 zones are proposed to have site-specific exemptions to allow lower minimum site areas for a more compact and efficient lotting pattern. The open space zones, so those are the zones that are shown as OS2 on that map. There, where the proposed park blocks are going to be, the locations look a bit awkward, but there is connectivity through a proposed passive trail system. So they are connected. The hazard area around the drain is maintained with some proposed changes to the limits through consultation with the Conservation Authority and the inclusion of the areas housing stormwater management facilities. Next slide, please. Here's the proposed draft plan layout. So the reason I included this as a part of the presentation, so you can kind of see how the zones correspond to what's being proposed for the draft plan. Next slide, please. So it's just a quick conversation regarding missing middle housing. So missing middle are the residential units between single detached and mid-rise residential units. The missing middle, so they're basically units missing from the market, which we basically need to address affordability. This proposal supplies missing middle housing through the proposed semi-detached and townhouse units. So from a planning perspective, this is really good to see. Next slide, please. Planning staff recommend council approves the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, noting that the proposal aligns with applicable planning policy and no concerns were identified at this stage of the process. With that, I open myself to any questions you may have, and I believe the agents on file are here to answer questions to support the application as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for the presentation, Johan. We will hear from those who are in favor first, and then those who are opposed. Is there anybody who wants to speak to it today? I know we got some people online as well. Is there anybody here that wants to speak in favor to it? No? Does anybody want to speak against the development or have clarification on the development? No? Seeing none? Okay, very good. Members of council may provide any questions or comments about the application. Anybody on council have any questions or comments about this application? Seeing none. Okay, I will now state the following. The public meeting is now concluded. Council may consider passing the zoning bylaw amendment at this meeting or at a future meeting. A copy of council's decision will be mailed to those, who have requested the notification. Under section 3419 of the Planning Act, only certain individuals and organizations are eligible to appeal council's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. These include an applicant, a public body, a specific person as identified in the act, or a person or public body who made oral submissions at the public meeting or written submissions to council before the bylaw was passed. A notice of appeal must be filed with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the date of which the notice of council's decision is given. The notice of appeal must be set out and the reasons for the appeal and be accompanied by the required fee payable to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Thank you, everybody, for coming. That concludes this meeting. But at the same time, you said there was another step or two that you have to go through. You made it clear at the first of the meeting. This is done, but there's some other work that has to be done after the fact. Correct, right, Johan?
Through your worship, the next step would be they've also applied for the plan of subdivision. So draft plan of subdivision. So after this gets approved, we can move forward with that application. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, so that concludes the first one. I'm now going to go into the other zoning procedure and application that we have for today. And the application is number Z-07-25, and it's the Dervin application for 7664 Brickyard Line. I'm now going to announce the following. The next item on council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to the application for council's consideration of bylaw to amend Warwick zoning bylaw 121 of 2012 on lands described as concession 3, NERE, PT lot 16, PTE half lot 16, no municipally, the 7664 Brickyard Line in the Township of Warwick. The amendment is required to facilitate a proposed subdivision. I'll now ask the clerk the following: the method of giving public notice for the meeting and the date that the notice was given.
The notices were posted on the property and mailed out on March 20th.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to state the following. Any person requiring further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name and full mailing address to the clerk before leaving the meeting. Any persons present who wish to make an oral or written submission should provide the clerk with their name and full mailing address. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should ask their questions through myself, the chair. I'm now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any verbal submissions. Do we have any verbal submissions? Or pardon me, do we have any written submissions, Madam?
We did not receive any written submissions.
Thank you. The planner will now give his report. Johan, please.
Thank you, your worship. Good afternoon, everybody again, respected council members, applicants and the viewing public. Just a quick correction. So the rezoning is to rezone the lands, to prepare the lands for a future surplus farm dwelling severance.
I guess my paperwork was a little bit flawed, so thank you for correcting that. I'm just reading off the script, so please go ahead. Thank you for the clarification.
To the chair, no worries at all. Next slide, please. So the property is located at 7666 Brickyard Line. The zoning of the property is A1 agricultural with some hazard lands on the north part of the property. The lot is 97.5 acres, and the lot is basically a farm with a residential cluster to the south with some agricultural accessory structures. Next slide, please. So the proposal is for a future severance. Here, the proposal is to rezone the lot for that severance. So the severed portion, so that is that residential cluster, that's being proposed to remain A1, whereas the retained portion, so that's the retained agricultural lot, is going to be rezoned to ND-A. ND is basically no dwelling. So if this rezoning is approved, then no further dwellings will be allowed on the retained portion. Also, to mention, the surrounding properties have residences and farm operations on them. Next slide, please. From an application review standpoint, there are two issues with this application. The first is that the retained farm parcel doesn't have the minimum frontage required by the zoning bylaw. The frontage required is 150 meters, and I believe what's being proposed is 66 meters. Now, this generally is not a concern because that would be easily supportable through a minor variance. The second issue is a major issue. So next slide, please. The second issue is a more significant issue. The proposal is required to meet MDS 1 calculations, so that's minimum distance separation of that lot to the surrounding livestock facilities. And as can be seen from this image, it doesn't. Just to explain why, before this rezoning and the subsequent severance, the dwelling is associated with an agricultural operation and forms part of that agricultural context. After the severance, it becomes a separate residential lot not associated with farming. Approving the application would formalize a residential use in a location where there is insufficient separation from the surrounding livestock facilities, increasing the potential for land use conflicts over time and undermining the intent of MDS. So to put that simply, in the past, or the existing context is there's a house on a farm and the house is basically for the farmer that tends the land. If that's severed off, it's being dissociated from that farming context, and it's basically a rural residential lot. And someone who's not a farmer can move in there, and they can basically start complaining about the surrounding livestock facilities. And this is a huge issue because MDS was actually put into place to protect the township and the surrounding farmers and their livestock facilities from these land use conflicts, from these complaints. So in this case, as can be seen from the image on the screen, an MDS of 702 meters is required to the livestock operation at 7702 Brickyard Line, so that's the livestock facility to the northeast, where only a separation of 356 meters exists. So only half of that actually exists. So this cannot be varied through a minor variance. It's just too large of a difference. And as can be seen, the orange bubble that you see is the minimum distance separation required from the livestock facility. And as you can see, the proposed lot is well within that. Next slide, please. As such, planning staff recommend council refuse the proposed zoning bylaw amendment as it does not meet the intent of the relevant planning policy documents. With that, I end my presentation. I open myself to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan, for the presentation. We'll hear those in favor of the bylaw first and then hear from those opposed. Does anybody want to speak in favor of this that's present or online? Seeing none. Does anybody who is opposed want to speak to the issue? Seeing, is there anybody? Anybody online?
Hi there.
Hi. Go ahead.
My name is Adam McCollum, and I put the submission in. I'm the agent for the property. Is now an okay time to speak?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Adam.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Council. I just wanted to speak briefly on this matter. I know I did speak with Johan earlier this morning. That was my first indication that it was not going to be supported. I had no prior knowledge to this ahead of time. That being said, just other than this morning's phone call, I did. It was all originally supported by Johan and everything else until obviously he came across with this information. The house itself is to be severed off from the family farm, and one of the family members, Evan, is proposed to purchase this from the farm, the family farm, and own it personally. One thing that when I was kind of doing a little bit of really quick research here, I noticed this, which was an exemption for existing dwellings. An MDS 1 setback is not required for severed or retained lot that already contains an existing dwelling. The academic logic: if an existing house is already closer to a barn than the new proposed lot line or building envelope would be, you may argue the conflict is already established. Creating a new lot further away does not encroach on the barn or any more than the current house already does. With that information being said, I want to address three different property addresses, which is 6618 Bethel. That lot size, it's been severed. It's 3.95 acres and it's 84 meters from the nearest barn, livestock barn. 7630 Brickyard is 2.47 acres. It's 232 meters from the nearest livestock barn. And 7483 Brickyard, which is 0.74 of an acre and 360 meters from the nearest livestock barn. These have all been severed in the past. These are all within 1.1 kilometers of the address that we're talking about today. So we kindly ask that you consider this and approve this severance. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCollum. Johan, would you like to speak to that, please?
Through the chair, so I was supportive of the proposal as long as it meets MDS. As because it couldn't meet MDS, I could no longer support it. Regarding the policy exemption mentioned, our policy documents, the county official plan and the Warwick official plan, require an MDS1 calculation to be done for this scenario. So what was mentioned before does not apply in this instance. With that, I end my comments.
All right, Mr. McCollum, would you like to speak to his comments, to Johan's comments?
I guess like I had kind of previously mentioned that this has been done in the past, like with the three properties that I've just mentioned, are all within that boundary and would have been during that time. So I know that it's up to you guys, obviously, to I guess figure out if it's something that you would like to propose and approve or not. Like I said, the owner of the property just wants to live there himself. I'm here to try to answer any other questions that you may have. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other information that you have for me or questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCollum. I'm going to go back to Johan again, and then I will open it up to council for questions and comments as well. Johan, please.
Through the chair, just a quick point on what was just mentioned. Every application that's made needs to stand on its own unique merits. Just because something was approved, I don't know the previous context. I don't know the different circumstances, but this application needs to stand on its own merits. Thank you.
All right. Council, does anybody have any questions or comments? Deputy Mayor.
This question for you on directly to the west of the proposed severance. Is there not a house on that small lot there as well?
Yeah. To your worship, yes, there is.
Follow up, Deputy Mayor.
Well, just stating the fact that there's already a house there that's within that area and it's going to affect MDS regardless of whether this gets severed or not. So.
But anybody else on council have any questions or comments? Councilor Morris.
Any idea on when these previous severances were? Were they so far in the past before the requirements were there?
Personally, I'm unaware at this moment. I'll just mention one more thing regarding the other house being there. Regarding this application, we're not just looking at the house, it's the lot. So when we're doing an MDS calculation for this, the MDS1 distance was not generated from the house itself, it was from the lot lines. So that's how you should review it. It should be through the purview that you're actually creating a new lot, a use which is being proposed there. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on council? Questions or comments at this time for the process? Saying not, I am going to back the bus up just one step before this, and I'm going to ask, is there anybody who wants to speak to this in lieu of the comments from Mr. McCollum and so on? I'll open it up one more time. For or against? Not seeing anybody? Very good. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to continue on with the process. The public meeting is now concluded. Council may consider passing the zoning bylaw amendment at this meeting or at a future meeting. A copy of council's decision will be mailed to those who have requested notification. Under section 34 19 of the Planning Act, only certain individuals and organizations are eligible to appeal council's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. These include the applicant, a public body, a specified person as identified in the act, or a person or public body who made oral submission at the public meeting or written submissions to council before the bylaw was passed. A notice of appeal must be filed with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the date of which notice of council decision is given. The notice of appeal must set out the reasons for the appeal and be accompanied by the required fee payable to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Thank you very much. That concludes our meeting. Thanks for coming. Okay, council, I'm going to get us back on track here. We're going to go to number 13 on the agenda. And that's reports and items requiring a motion. I'm going to go to the action correspondence first. There are 3 pieces of action correspondence. They're all, for the most part, pretty much FYIs, to be very honest with you. But if council wishes to speak to one, let me know. I'll read them out as I always do. The first one is from Brooke Alvinston, a notice of quarter revision for the Davidson Drain 04 -X1. Only thing I'll say about this one, this is open, and if there's anybody on council would wish to go and listen and hear what's going on, since it does concern us a little bit. If somebody would like to do that, they could volunteer to go and listen. Councilor Morris?
Just a question. Is this like a court revision that we would have to sit on? Or just a bystander? Okay, thank you.
Just a bystander situation. Otherwise, we'd be asking a member of council to go and be there. So if anybody would like to go, let the deputy clerk know and we will get the information out, okay? And the other one is 04-X2. And that's basically a golf tournament being put on. If anybody's interested, give them a shout. The next one is 04-X3. It's County of Lambton. It's the county municipal banquet. It's an FYI. The annual banquet. If anybody'd like to go, just let the deputy clerk know and we can go from there. I don't see anything else on here that really requires any action of council unless somebody else sees something they'd like to make a motion on. Very good. Thank you. So that concludes 13A. Can I have a motion to receive and file the correspondence then? Councillor Manning is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's go to 13B if we can. And this is awarding Warwick Road RFP. And there's a recommendation here that Warwick Township Council approves the recommendation of Spreed Associates to award SevCon paving the contract for the Guy Street, Kelly Street, and William Street rehabilitation for $698.65 excluding HST. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation 13B? Councillor Westgate?
One question, exactly what are we doing there, Kyle? Tar and chip, or are you repaving, or?
Oh, please.
Thank you. We are repaving, we're milling up the existing surface and paving over top of it. There's no subsurface works with any of these 3 streets.
So you're just leaving the asphalt that's there, you're milling it and leaving it there and packing it?
We would be paving over top of the milled asphalt for this price.
Anybody else have any questions? This was in the budget, I think, Kyle, correct me. I think it was in there. This is under budget by quite some amount. It was in the budget for $300,000. Was it correct? Am I correct?
Yes, it was in the budget for just under 400,000. There's additional costs for engineering and geotechnical that isn't in the SevCon paving piece. It was in the bottom of the report. It's an additional approximate $65,000. So the current estimated total is just under 250,000 for the entire project. There is a bit of financial risk currently with asphalt costs expected to increase this summer due to external events. So some of that margin will get ate into when they get to the actual paving, but that is just the cost of oil.
And we can't control what goes on in Iran. So I guess we're going to be part and parcel, but it's nice to see that it came under budget. So I've read the recommendation, council. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation 13B? Councillor Morris?
I make a motion, we proceed with the recommendation.
You, sir, do we have a seconder? Councillor Westgate? Any further discussion on this one? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, council, we're gonna go to 13C. This is also a recommendation. This is the Economic Development Strategy, RFP. And that the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Warwick accepts the proposal submitted by KIB Consulting Sequence in the amount of $70,650 plus HST for the development of the Township Economic Development Strategy, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary agreements. Any questions on this one, council? Yes, Councilor Morris.
I guess, Trevor, is there any problem okaying this now before we do the grant application, and we'll come back and bite this, will it?
Trevor?
Once we'll execute it as soon as we know definitely about the grant, but that was written into the RFP, that once we know, we'll sign.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. How does council wish to deal with this particular item? Moved by Councillor Manning, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're going to go to 13D. And this is regarding our friends at LCDS. And this is the sidewalk cleaning agreement. We've been doing this for years. And there's a recommendation that council approves the Watford Downtown Business District Sidewalk Cleaning Agreement with Lambton County Development Services, LCDS, at a cost of $1,596 plus applicable HST, and it be approved by bylaw and executed by the mayor and CAO. How does council wish to deal with this particular piece of business? Deputy Mayor is moving it, seconded by Councillor Morris. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Takes us to 13E, council. And this is a petition for a new municipal drain to Bear Creek. And there's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council accept the petition to create a new municipal drain that will start at the Brown Jarriet Drain Outlet and drain into Bear Creek. And that after 30 days notice to the St. Clair Regional Conservation Authority, a new report can be prepared by Spreets and Associates before the work can proceed. How does council wish to deal with this recommendation, or is clarification needed? Councilor Morris.
Yeah, Kyle. So this is starting at the John Ruth area where the drain ends, and this is running all the way to Forest Road. Am I getting that right?
Thank you. So this was as a result of the road authority petition on that creek. Originally, we can only go so far downstream of each road crossing. At a preliminary meeting with affected residents, additional residents wanted to petition for their lands as well, which we may or may not have covered with our authority. So this is them submitting their own petitions to be added to ours for this drain. The full extent of it won't be known until we get further in the design process, but the inlet would effectively be the Brown Jarriet outlet, and as far to the creek as possible or as required to provide sufficient outlet.
Councilor Morris.
Well, do we not need more farmers to sign on this to get a majority? Like, you've only got 3. I thought we needed that's a big chunk.
Oh, please.
So the road authority doesn't need anyone to sign with them. So we've already submitted our petition. It's already been through the 30 days notice. So there's already going to be a certain extent covered under that request. These are individual properties that are along that same path that would potentially enable it to be connected as a single system. Spreet hasn't reviewed these petitions yet to see if they're all valid and can be combined, or if we had to go back to additional landowners and to see if we have sufficient area. But the road authority piece is already approved. This is just potentially connecting them all as one continuous drain or not.
Thank you very much, Kyle.
Councilor Westgate.
Kyle, it's my understanding this is just to make it a municipal drain. And if we're gonna do work on it after, we'd have to get it petitioned. But it's not a municipal drain before, so I thought that's what this was.
Yeah, so currently it's not a municipal drain. The intent with this petition is to get access to do brushing and and repairs along the route. Currently, we don't have authority to go in. This establishes entrance permission and work corridors, and basically, we're not trenching or channelizing, we're just maintaining an existing creek.
So it still will not be a municipal drain after, we'll still,
It will be a municipal drain, but it won't be one with necessarily with defined banks and a flat bottom profile. It will have more restrictions depending on what we receive back from the DFO and the Conservation Authority. The intent is to minimize cost with the initial design and look on removing obstacles, removing beaver dams, things that are impeding flow along this channel. It will be considered a municipal drain, but it won't have a necessarily defined bank and bottom or a profile that we can excavate back to.
Anybody else have any questions for Kyle on this one? So we do have the recommendation before us. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation? Deputy Mayor?
I'll move.
Deputy Mayor is moving that, seconded by Council Westgate. Any further discussion, council? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay. Takes us to number 14. Do we have any new business for council today?
No, we do not have any new business.
Thank you. Anybody on council have anything they want to bring up? No, very good. So that ends the open portion of our meeting today. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. We are now going to go into the closed meeting session. I need a motion to move into camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of Municipal Act 2001 is amended for the following reasons. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the Municipal Act. Would like to do the honors, council. Councillor Morris is making that motion. Councillor Manning is seconding it. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much.